Judgment Day.
Hello everyone, I am Dave, and today we're going to talk about the apocalypse, expectations, and a little game called Katana ZERO. Now, unless your teenage son has the family credit card saved to his console, I don't actually think GTA 6 is anyone's idea of a cataclysmic event. But GTA 5 came out in 2013 and hasn't really left the culture. According to ActivePlayer.io, GTA 5's average player count in 2024 is still over 25 million people a month.
Wow.
In total, GTA 5 has made around $8.5 billion in revenue. That's 1/3 of the entire MCU. You couple this with the memes, and it's fair to say that GTA 6 is going to be the most anticipated game of all time. The hype machine has reached biblical levels, which brings me back to the apocalypse. Imagine if it's not good. Universally has to be a top 10 game of all time, or swarms of locusts and raining blood will descend. Plus, Reddit will be upset. This is the curse of expectations. They say keep your expectations low, and you're never disappointed. And for me, that usually works. I hate most things. But for well-adjusted people, hype can set the bar unrealistically high, especially when we're constantly being served familiar stories and characters and worlds.
We can do whatever we want, sir, as long as it's derivative of intellectual property with a proven track record of financial success. Of course.
And this brings me to Katana ZERO, a science fiction samurai game from indie developer Justin Stander that I just stumbled upon last Friday and was finished by Sunday. And I loved that I had no expectations for it. Indie games nowadays have a low barrier to entry because of their comparatively affordable price tag, and many of them are receiving console ports. And it's so satisfying to feel like you're discovering something and have that open up all kinds of hidden loves and new fandoms that you had no idea you had, as opposed to just being reserved the same shit. So what is Katana ZERO? Who is it for? Will it make me a better son? Grab a snack, y'all, and let's talk about it, because I'm Dave, and this is a review of Katana ZERO. Katana ZERO is a 2019 action platformer brought to us by indie developer Justin Stander. Stander began development in 2013 while he was still in college, and I love these types of games, where one person unites their technical skills with zero regard for their personal well-being into a singular vision and just iron wills these postmodern pixel art gems into our Steam libraries. More games in this vein would be Stardew Valley, Undertale, Papers, Please, games with a singular developer that makes the game more of an extension of their creator. And they spend way less time on ray tracing and more time on ideas and manipulating their inspirations in interesting ways. Katana ZERO is no different. Here we play a samurai with a warped perception of time and flimsy morals. Except for, of course, that one little girl he takes care of, which lets you know that even though he's a soulless murderer, he's actually a chill dude. We slowly unravel a genre-blending mystery that takes heavy inspiration from Korean revenge thrillers like those of Park Chan-wook and modern neo-noirs like Pulp Fiction. I had a moment where I thought, even though I had assumed everything was not as it seems, the story that I was piecing together is not as it seems. And now I have to reconsider everything. This game has a lot of fun with subverting familiar tropes found in game design. Here we have an exchange between 4 enemies of the Slick Ricky variety. One guy, Slender Richard, is finding out if he will be initiated into the Slick Ricky society. And after a double fake-out, Slender Richard finds out that he was accepted, resulting in this fraternal celebration. This is a silly joke that plays on the ideas that all these enemies share identical physical features because there's only so many character models. But it's a bit of clever writing found in completely missable dialogue, and this populates every corner of Katana ZERO. You'll find a ridiculous amount of references to pop culture, and while some people might find this derivative, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, if you squint, it's like playing a Tarantino video game, and who knows when you'll have that chance again. You don't count. Well, maybe you should. Let's have a look at the gameplay.
Hold it, Dickwater, I'll ventilate. We lost those!
I should review this. And speaking of gameplay, well, the action flies in Katana ZERO. All the combat takes place in close quarters since you are exclusively a melee fighter. Maybe exclusively is not the right word. You can throw things. A trope that the game plays with by emphasizing, "You've unlocked a pistol!" only for it hilariously to be a projectile that you can only throw and not shoot. If I had to describe the gameplay with 2 adjectives, it would be fast and hard. Sometimes you'll need to dodge multiple attacks per second. Now the game balances this by introducing a sort of bullet time feature that momentarily slows time so you can plan your next move. This feature is more of a failsafe than the core design principle, and even when I didn't need it, I had a good time just deflecting enemies' bullets back at them with the katana. If I had a gripe with the gameplay, it would be, why doesn't Katana ZERO let you air dash? Obviously, realism was not the apex priority, so removing the air dash must have been some sort of game design decision to prevent the combat from feeling too easy. Still, it feels weird since most of its contemporaries feature some sort of air dash, and reflexively going for it was frustrating. I don't know if that's fair criticism, but it's definitely something that I felt quite a bit during my experience. Amongst its fans, the soundtrack has become infamous for being infectious and having this synthwave sound design. You know what else has an infectious synthwave soundtrack? Hotline Miami. You might roll your eyes at this because as of now I have 2 videos about gaming and have mentioned Hotline Miami twice, and if you're coming from the future then I've definitely mentioned it again. But Katana ZERO is very much so in conversation with Hotline Miami, so much so that there are times when it feels like it's cosplaying. It sort of creates an interesting analysis for me because I can't tell how much I like this and how much I like this because it's doing this. I mean, it's got the neon visuals, it's got the synthwave soundtrack, it's got the mysterious phone call plot device. It is very much so doing the Hotline Miami thing. So why celebrate one and not the other? When it really comes down to it, Hotline Miami is a game of cold water. It's about confronting players with their own actions. To the tune where the game routinely asks you, do you like hurting people? To which I say, yes, I platinumed the game. And by the end of Hotline Miami, you actually feel as if the style is second to the substance of the game, and you re-enter the world with new ideas to wrestle with. And when it came to Katana ZERO, I couldn't tell you what the game was saying. Probably because the story feels largely unconcluded, and in desperate need of a content patch to tie up some serious loose ends. And that is so frustrating because I was extremely invested in the story. It's a revenge thriller dripping in LSD sci-fi, and that's my lane. Fortunately, unfortunately, we know a content patch is coming. There's been a free DLC in the work for 5 years. Apparently, it's a bit of a Hollow Knight Silksong situation, and as the scale of the project keeps increasing, there keeps being more delays, which I say, yay sir, good for you, keep going. If you want to release it as a standalone sequel, I will gladly pay full indie game price for it, because I really enjoyed Katana ZERO, and I'm sure I will like Katana ZERO 1, Katana 1, Katana 2. For all of my hem-hawing, I've really enjoyed exploring this post-war setting, and it was nice having the gameplay broken up by these ethereal cutscenes. It's dope seeing how much love that Stander has for the project by stuffing it with unique dialogue options and wonderfully rendered character art. In conclusion, did I love Katana ZERO? Or was Katana ZERO cosplaying as the things I love? Honestly, who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. The game has so much personality that it elevates into feeling like a singular experience. Frankly, I can't wait to see how the story ends, because for one weekend I was hooked. So I don't have a name for my grading metric yet, but I know it's going to be out of 10, and I know that this isn't going to be a scholastic grading curve where a 7 out of 10 is average. This is real math. This is man math. This is woman math too, where a 5 out of 10 is average, true math. And so if I were to grade Katana ZERO on that scale, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. This game is fire, and I'd recommend it to anyone who likes this, or this, and especially this. And double recommend it if it goes on sale, because the best thing about indie games is a lot of times you can find them for $5, $7, $10. And if you can get this game for $10, oh brother, you are in for a treat. Welcome to the One More Thing section, where I randomly rattle off some thoughts that did not fit into the script organically. Roll credits number 1. I love how the game highlights the dialogue text with different fonts and colors. It reminds me of Bionic Reading, where they bold every few letters to guide your eyes along the page. Honestly, more games should adopt this bionic dialogue strategy, especially as our attention spans continue to wane. Seems like an easy hack to a cartoonishly gripping cutscene. And also, tax forms should use Bionic Reading. 2. Here are some Easter eggs to Akira, The Legend of Zelda, and a hilariously direct nod to Silent Hill 2. 3. Katana ZERO had the most Nintendo Switch pre-orders of any game published by Devolver Digital. Now, if that doesn't sound like a big deal, I'm just going to put some of those games up on the screen, and it's actually pretty cool. And 4, I love making these videos, so if you dug it, subscribe, stick around. There'll be more than this came from. Share it with your friends, and have a good night. See ya.